For more content on today's episode, make sure you check out the Al Nicoletti Facebook business page, the personal page, the YouTube channel under Al Nicoletti, and all of the amazing micro content, micro clips that come out on Instagram at Attorney Nicoletti, and the Al Nicoletti Show, which is on iTunes and Spotify. All the amazing and incredible guests that I've had on my show since the beginning of this year, which is constantly rolling every week. And we have incredible guests like today, Zach Wooldridge. I can't wait to have him on. So stay tuned. It's a 12 p.m. special, so we can make sure we got the man in the room, Zach, and he will go in on the never quit mentality. And stay tuned. Hey, everybody. My name is Al Nicoletti. I'm an attorney here in Florida, and welcome to the Al Nicoletti Show, where I bring on real estate super investors, rising rock stars, movers and shakers, and leaders of clubs in the community that educate, entertain, and inspire all things on Florida real estate, on how you can take your business and your game to the next level. And I got the man on the podcast show today, Zach Wooldridge. I love Zach. I was so excited Zach was able to take time out of his day. He is a hardcore investor, a go-getter. He never stops going, and I love having him on my show today. And I think it's so important for people to know who Zach is and where did Zach come from. And I want to always give those information things so people know his bio and how Zach started. So Zach is super dad, husband of 4 kids. 4 kids. How does he manage all of this and do his investing side to everything? He's a veteran, been in the military, and a real estate enthusiast. He spent 6 years in active duty in the spec ops world, and the last 4 growing in the 2 real estate companies. And he owns a mobile home park, rentals and flip properties, and wholesales. And as an investor, he spends most of the time working towards financial freedom in the investing world through real estate. And through struggles that are daily, but he always gets over it. He always finds a solution. That's why I love Zach. He's always like, how do we do it? Get to the next goal. The goals are bigger, and the idea is to find the solutions. And he's always juggling the kids. So he's got juggling the 4 kids and under 5 businesses. He stays super busy, and some things it's impossible. But for Zach, he's a go-getter. He knows how to make it happen. He's all over the social links. He's got videos. He's on Instagram, TikTok. Dang, TikTok. All right, Zach, I want to see those TikTok videos. And he's on LinkedIn. He's all over the page. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about how he manages his time with 4 kids, being in the military service and running 2 real estate companies, how you can develop that never quit mentality, and why it's so important to always find solutions with your deals, no matter how messy they are. Because Zach, I'm sure he's going to share the story about the crazy probate, how he can buy out an interest and maybe potentially get more money on the back end of the sale and make a killing with buying out interest. I know we're excited to talk about that, but it's always finding a solution, and Zach's the man to do it. He loves it. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Zach Wooldridge. Zach, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? I don't know if I can keep that energy, Al. Like, you're crushing it, dude. Yeah.
I'm always going, right? Like that's the key. And that's why I love connecting with you, always talking to you. When we get on the call, we're like, how do we do this? How do we do that?
Yep.
Yeah, you can't keep up with the energy because you are an energy. So,
man, I feel like I've known you for years, and we've only known each other for what, maybe 6 to 8 months now. I feel like we've been through the ringer, finally closed the deal together, but it took some time. But hey, man, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me. Awesome intro. Like, what more can I say? I guess I don't really know what I can say. I guess we'll just see what happens from here on out, but I appreciate that, man. I really do. I don't feel like I'm that special, but I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. So appreciate it.
You are that special. You are. And thanks for having really good audio and lighting today. I could hear you so well. It's like,
yep.
It's amazing. It's refreshing to me, right? Because the show is important. So having that,
your background's awesome, man. Do you play the violin? Is that?
Yeah. So I was a musician for 15 years.
Really?
Yeah, musician.
Cool.
15. Yeah, and then all of a sudden I realized music wasn't going to make me probate money, right? So
yeah, I love it.
Yeah. That's the actual violin I played for a long time. So I had the whole setup and everything going on here.
Nice, man. Cool. I grew up playing piano, and then I picked up the guitar in my later years. And I wish I had more time these days to pick up the guitar. But man, we've just been so busy. Like you said, kids are, I will say, kids are probably the hardest thing that I've ever done in my entire life. And I've done some, not to brag, I'm just saying I've done some pretty hard things in my life, but kids are by far the hardest thing that we have ever tackled in our life. So, but they're such blessings, man. I love it. So maybe we'll have to get to jam someday, you know, maybe we'll get together and we'll do a little jam sesh.
Oh man, well, I'll crack out the violin and it'll be like, you know. So I haven't played it in a while, so I don't want to fool you on that
Devil
one.
went down to Georgia type thing.
You know what? I probably could make that happen with the style that I'm playing right now. So
that's awesome. Dude,
Zach, for people that don't know who you are, tell everybody who you are. What were you doing before real estate, and how are you really crushing it today and grinding? Because you're in the Panhandle, so it's a totally different market. So how are you doing it?
Well, so I started off. I started off in the military. That was actually like my real big move. Before that, I was just kind of working day jobs. Figured I needed a change in my life, and joined the Air Force. Found a career field that I wanted to go after called pararescue. Pararescue at the time, or probably still is, has like a 80 or 90% attrition rate through their pipeline. Took me about 3 years to get through that. It ended up being one of the hardest pipelines, hardest schools in the military. But it left me with not only a great skill set, but it also left me with a great mindset. Just taking it day by day. I remember those mornings in what we call indoctrination, first 10 weeks of our pipeline. It's just a straight up, just an ass kicker. Not even gonna lie about it. It sucks. It's horrible. You're up at 3:30, 4 in the morning, and you're going till, God knows when. And every day you're just kind of dragging ass, trying to get things done. But it's a day-to-day mentality. It almost breaks down to even smaller. It's a meal-to-meal mentality. You're just going from, okay, I got to get to breakfast. Okay, got to wake up. Great. Get to breakfast. Great. Got to get to lunch. What's that next thing? Got to get to dinner. It's just a step by step mentality that really kind of shone a big light in my life after the fact. I'm still in the reserves, so I'm actually down at Cocoa Beach. So I'm in the reserves every now and then. I go down there every about quarter, do my thing there. I really enjoy my job, really love it, military side. But I really love real estate. Started real estate, like you said before, about 4 years ago. Kind of was like, hey, how can I supplement some of my income? And is it possible? Is it possible to do that with such an active military role, right? Very demanding. And I found out flipping properties when I started was not. It was a lot of bandwidth flipping those properties. And I was like, okay, what do I have to do? And actually, Tyler Austin, he wholesaled me a few deals. And I was like, what is this guy doing? He's not like, it's just like he's getting these deals, he's assigning them, and then he's making a bunch of money on it, and little bandwidth. I'm like, what is he doing? So I looked into it, found out wholesaling. I don't even like to call it wholesaling anymore, Al. I feel like it's got such a bad name. I just use assigning of a contractor equitable interest in a property as an exit strategy now. So, like, for example, we're to a point where we're back to flipping properties. We're back to, buying rentals. Like you said, we got a mobile home park. But this Brooks deal we just did, which was a nice little check that came in, we assigned that deal, right? I was initially going to flip it. I went in with very full intentions on flipping it. And then I'm like, hey, I could actually make a healthy 5 figures wholesaling it. And I'm like, at this point, I've had evicted the brother. We'd had go through the probate. I mean, it was just like, I feel like the wholesaling part was its own flip in a sense, you know what I mean? With like the time period, it was like 6 to 8 months or something. From the time she called me off our direct mail to the time we finally closed was almost 8 months. So it was almost like, when you break that down, it's like, okay, was that worth it? But anyway, we decided to wholesale this property, which was good. And then we're actually going to take down another flip in here in another week. An easy one in my local area, Navarre, Florida. I don't know, kind of a small little beach town you might not have heard of. But yeah, super stoked on that. Got 4 kids, like you said. Just kind of day by day, man, day by day mentality. It's ups and downs. It's not easy, stress on the marriage. The wife's a rock star. She's our transaction coordinator. She's my real estate agent. She's doing her own retail deals and breastfeeding a baby. We just had our 4th. So
wow,
she's probably more mentally tough than I am,
Let's get her on the show. Let's have her right
Yeah,
here.
yeah, here, come on, man. Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. So, but yeah,
That's
that's pretty much, up to this point where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, you have the whole REI SIF group and the
Mhm.
whole mastermind behind it with Tyler and how he's totally made a total community with all the investors trying to
Yeah,
figure out the deals and the go no go, all that whole process. And you having had been a part of that, I mean, was huge because you as an investor see the value in those kind of software tools. But
100%.
when I would see those posts, those rant posts, I love your post. I love Tyler's post and the Zach rant post. But like every time I would see them, there would be a message behind it, which was, stop complaining. If you have no solutions, don't even talk about something. Bring
Yep,
something to the table. If you have an idea, what do you think it is? Talk about it out loud and stop with the whole you can't thing that you can and
yep,
do what you got to do. And that was probably a whole background from you from the military, which was a mindset of like you got to do it, you got to move forward, charge ahead. So you bring that with real estate and you're crushing it with these deals that you can wait months for, right? The lady calls you back in January. She doesn't do anything. So many investors, well, I don't know about so many, but a good amount of them would say, okay, that's a dead lead. I'm not going to follow up with it. But you
right.
followed up with it and you realize by taking this mental strategy that you've applied from the military and from your background to real estate, you found that there's that strategy to make money that
Yeah,
you can grind and make these figures. And if you don't want to keep the house, you can assign the contract and or do your whole shifting out of the contract. Don't call it wholesaling, and you're blowing up your business. So tell us, like, what are the 5 businesses that you have? What are those?
so we have, I essentially call it my wholesaling company, my flipping company. So I have my legal LLC's Cash Out Fast Out. I don't really like the name, but I rebranded it DBA's Northwest Florida Cash Home Buyer. And then we have Precision Properties Enterprise, which takes our deals down. We have Passive Patriots, which is our rental holding company. And then my wife had a company. What other company? Oh, I have a, well, not really. It's kind of in the works and not really real estate, but it's a software company that I've kind of, yeah, put in place and am trying to grow now. Actually, Tyler, thank you, Tyler. If you watch this, man, is inspired me in the software industry. He like introduced me to it, and I was hooked. I was hooked. I was like, this is awesome stuff. So now I'm trying to get my real estate stuff to flow on its own. I'm still very active in it right now, so I can kind of focus on some other things as well. But that software company doesn't really have much to do with real estate, but it's a cool experience. I'm excited on. Other than that, I think that's 1, 2, 3. It's about 4. I think 4 legal LLCs. Five if you count the umbrella, but no big deal there. But yeah, man, I love what you said, like that mentality, that kind of creative mentality, right? And I just kind of want to go back, if you don't mind, and say something because in
Do
the
it.
military, especially my career field, I am medically trained. So we would go in and we would pull people out of situations and give them care, medical care. We were equivalent of a paramedic, but I would say we were like a paramedic mixed with a PA because we were able to do field surgical stuff. So anyway, we'd go in and a lot of these decisions, especially even if it's not medicine, just in general, when you're going on an op, it's very life or death in some cases, right? So you have to make a choice. You have to make a decision. Now, when I started off, I was just kind of this, okay, I'll do what you say, officer, but as you grow and you become a team leader, you got to make these decisions. And what they always say is making a good decision now versus a great decision later is better because you're not always going to get a great decision right now. You just need to make the good decision now and move forward with that, right? We have a lot of people, like when I was working with Tyler at REI SIFT, when I was kind of transitioning out of the military active side, we have a lot of people who are like, I need to know this. I need to get all this in place and perfect before I take action. And I'm like, dude, you don't. You just need to find what you need to do now and do that now. And then you can pivot along the way. That was the biggest thing I found is people overthink things. And that's fine to think about it, but don't let it stop you from taking actions. I kind of been trying to coin this phrase. The difference between a goal and a dream is action, right? So if you have a dream, You want to make it a goal. In order to make it a goal, you have to take action on it, right? And it's useless without action. So making those decisions, like, a good decision now is better than a great one later. So just kind of wanted to touch on that. Kind of popped up in my head. I figured it'd be some value.
Oh, this is all valuable.
Yeah.
I mean, anything you say, Zach, I've watched the videos that you've had on YouTube. I see all the posts that you put out there about the mentality and taking action. And I love that. You have to take action, and it's not about goals. It's about vision, right? And to get to that dream, you take the action. So I love that. We'll make sure we make that micro content for you, because I think that's valuable and inspiring to people out there that they don't know the next step, right?
Right.
I was thinking about it the other day. No wonder Nike's phrase is "just do it," because it's an action step, right? It's massive action. It's not just a phrase; it's action. And people need to know that if you're going to take it to the next level and do it in real estate, you have to make sure you make it happen. Follow up, right? You're
100%.
big into follow up. If you don't follow up, you're not going to get the lead, and somebody else will.
Yep.
Right? So
100%.
Crazy.
That's happened multiple times with me, and it's crushing. It sucks. It's like, oh damn, I could have had that deal, like, but you've lacked in following up, right? The money's in the follow up. People like, they see the gurus and the glory. They're like, hey man, I sent out 50 direct mails and I made 50K. It was that easy. And then people are like, oh, I can do that. And they send out 50 direct mails, and guess what? They don't make 50K, because that's like a one-off. Those low-hanging fruits happen very rarely. I was very blessed recently to get one of those deals where actually flipping in my neighborhood. I had a guy call me. He's like, hey, you don't know me, but I got a house that I'm looking to sell. I got your number off a friend of mine, but you don't know him personally. He just had your number and your name. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, how did he have my number and my name? But somewhere in the past, somewhere, in history behind me, I have done something or said something or given my number out or networked in some sort of way that this deal just fell into my lap, right? You can say that was a low-hanging fruit, that was easy, but at the same time, which it was, but at the same time, the work was put in prior. The follow-up was put in prior. Who knows if I don't know the guy, so maybe I talked to him with REI Sift, or, just in passing, or maybe, maybe I reached out to him as a seller and I gave him my number and I said, hey, we know how to do this. And, if you need any help, and he's like, maybe found his friend that needed help. I don't know. It doesn't matter, but I was following up. I was keeping consistent and persistent in touching the leads as best as I can. And granted, you want to offload that eventually, but you have to do that in the beginning stages of your business, so you know what to do and you know how to train someone to do that effectively. So absolutely, follow up. I can't say it enough. It's the monotonous work. It sucks. I hate it. I do not like it. I do not enjoy it. But it produces fruit, right? We're sowing good seed into good soil, and it's producing fruit for us. So a good crop takes work, right? It takes time, it takes watering, it takes care, it takes nurture. That's how we should be looking at our sellers. That's how we should be looking at our relationships and our friends and everything in our life, right? We should be watering that and nurturing it and constantly following up. An old friend, for example, if you got an old friend, I'm sorry if I'm going off, but if you have an old friend, right? If you have an old friend, make sure you reach out to him. Hey, man, or woman, or whoever it is, right? Girl, guy, whatever you call them. How you doing? Like, how you been? How's the family? How's it going? Like, we lack sometimes in that. Unless somebody benefits us, right? We lack reaching out to them. We lack giving them that time of day, right? We make our relationships transactional. Hey, Al, I'm only going to talk to you if you give me something. Yeah, our relationship's been very business-like, Al, but I see a friendship happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we make our relationships very transactional. I'm not going to go out of my way and waste my energy on something that I might not get something back from. And that's a wrong mentality, in my opinion, right? We should be talking to those sellers that might not seem like a deal now, but we should constantly be following up, constantly being offering services, constantly be saying, hey, can I help you? How you doing? I'm just touching base. I'm doing it with several people right now, trying to take down an RV, boat and RV storage place. And the lady listed it and she wants $1.5 million. I'm like, I'll give you 1.2. And either way, I was trying to sell her, finance it with her. And she kind of like, I'm still following up with her, even though she's, doing other things and trying to make the deal happen other ways. I'm still like, hey, do you need something? I went over to her place and I replaced a wheel on her gate. You know what I mean? Like, I might not get anything from it, but who knows? I'm there. I'm building relationship. Something later might come of it, right? Hey, she might want to use that 1.5 million and invest, so I might have a private money lender at that point to invest in further deals. So who knows what's going to come of it, but I'm not looking at it like that. I'm looking at it saying, hey, how can I help this woman, right? So that's how we got to start thinking. We're humans at our core, man. We're humans. We want relationship. I hate the phrase, oh, it's just business. Well, business ruins relationships,
Yeah.
Like it does. It says, oh, sorry, I screwed you 100K. I screwed you over. Sorry, man. It's just business, Okay, cool. Thank you. That happened at the beginning of my career when I was doing real estate. I got screwed out of like 25 grand. Oh, it's just business. Okay, cool. Noted. Not talking to you again. Yeah.
Right. There went that relationship.
On to the next. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you can't work that way. You can't, the people that are doing that, you're not going to get the business, and you're not going to build the community, right? It's about building that community aspect. It's not just the business, right? That's the power of what a lot of these groups do. It's like in Jacksonville, you have Yellowbird. That's the power of that team in Yellowbird. It's not just an investment company, but it's a community. Same thing with the Hive Mind. They're a CRM. They do real estate CRM, but they don't just make the software CRM. They're building community. And so what they're doing is bringing that together, building relationships. Yeah, we all do business, but it's the relationship community building. Same thing with what you're doing and what Tyler's doing with REI Sift. Yeah, 100%. Tyler knows what he's doing. Tyler didn't just build a software. What the deeper point is building community, building relationships, and it's almost he funnels. That's why I love the logo. It's a funnel because it funneled the community, it funnels the business, funnels leads, and you all grow together. And then you have that Facebook group. So I love when you're saying that, look, it's not just business. And I learn a lot from you too, Zach. So the other day I was at a mastermind, and somebody said they reached out to this lawyer, and and I was like, okay, wait a second, I wonder where this is going. And they said they reached out to a lawyer, and the lawyer said he was busy. And I looked at the guy, and I was like, you know what Zach Wooldridge told me? He said a lawyer told him the same thing, and Zach went back to the lawyer and said, dude, we're all busy. Like we're all busy. So So everybody can take a lot of the advice you give and a lot of the power with the words you're using, because it means a lot with relationships, right? I learned from you. You're learning all the stuff on my end, and it's like you 100%. Keep going around, and you're in a different market. And we have a lot of people. Dylan, a huge fan. Sharonda's on. We have so many people.
What's up, Dylan?
Yeah, we have so many people.
Love Dylan.
Dylan's like, yeah, I don't get that with some people. It is business, but you run it. So screwing me over wasn't just business. It was a choice you would have made in business or not.
100%.
Right?
100%. Yep. Yeah. You would have been that kid on the playground that took the candy bar from someone and said, oh, sorry, tough luck, So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And then he says, action takers, Alex, what's up, Alex? Action takers are money makers, right? 100%. Like this
that's gold.
People are paying attention to what you're saying, Zach. And Dylan's just a huge fan. Leslie's watching all the way from Texas. How you doing? Oh. Sharonda's watching. So, a lot of people watch the show also, Zach, that I've learned is because I'm not just doing a show just for Al. Like the whole point is to build a community and constantly build the relationship, having you on, bringing people together so other people know who you are and actively bringing it together. So that's what I love. I love that people watch and are watching you. So Zach, tell everybody, this is a big thing for you in the Panhandle, right? So doing business in Jacksonville is one thing. Doing things in Orlando and Tampa, a big market, is one thing. But doing things in like Bay County, Washington County, Okaloosa County, that's not small market counties, but you are doing large numbers, 5 figures, potentially 6 figures. How do you do such large numbers in that kind of county and small counties in Florida, like the Panhandle? And do you have a team behind you that helps facilitate those leads, like on the acquisition side, and also the ability to have a good disposition team where you can find those buyers and unload?
Yeah, so right now I'm actually wearing quite a lot of hats. I stepped away from the REI SIFT. I stepped away from the military, and I'm now just honing in on my goals and businesses. So I'm currently wearing a lot of hats. We do have a VA. I work in conjunction with a lot of other people, especially from the REI SIFT community. So that's like an occasional thing. And then my wife just crushes it on the transaction side. She does a little bit of dispositions. But I mainly do acquisitions right now. I mainly kind of just manage everything as it is right now. I've found it hard to find good people, good relationships to bring people on, or people willing to work. Right. It's kind of tough to find that. It's kind of tough to find people that care as much as you. You're probably never going to find it. So I'm always offering entrepreneurs, people who are trying to grow their own businesses, to partner. Right. Because I know they'll be, a double benefit in a sense. And I know they're not going to be here forever, but that's okay with me, right? If I can share value, if I can give them something as they go along their journey, I'm happy with that. So, but that's the hardest thing right now. I'm wearing a lot of hats in my business. So, but other than that, we're doing well. We're pretty consistent. This market's a smaller market compared to most. And the biggest thing is just standing out, right? Just building those relationships. I get a lot of people who call, or we call and reach out to, and they're like, "You're not that such and such company," right? I'm not going to name any names right here, but you're not that such and such company, are you? I'm like, no. They're like, "Okay, cool," because I'm not going to sell my house to them. I'm like, "Oh, like interesting." Like, yeah, why? I was like, and I always ask. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be nosy, but like, why not? And they're like, "Well, they did this, this, and this," and I was like, "Okay, noted. Not going to do that." So yeah, you can learn from other people's mistakes, right? That's wisdom. In other words, learning from other people's wisdom, experience, and knowledge is your own. So, but anyhow, yeah, we're a smaller market, but we're doing stuff, pretty consistently, and I'm happy with that. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's not really easy doing it in Pensacola. I mean, Pensacola is a big small city, right? But
right.
like doing it off that Bay County, I'm just going through those counties, the Walton County, and those are hard markets first to tap into. Number one,
Yeah.
to know people, right? So the one thing I've learned a lot, even being at events and being places here, being at the investor meetings here, and then being at like the Hive Mind event in Dallas, is like you have investors that are virtual, right? And that
Right.
now you could do deals in other markets like Florida, and for people to know that they have a connection like you in that market that you can help line up and create that relationship, or you yourself could be the buyer,
Yeah.
because you could either probably do a triple close or something like that.
Yep.
But that they can line up with you and make deals happen. It's amazing, right? You're a
Absolutely.
go-getter. You have a lot of connections. The whole REI SIFT community with Tyler, and I mean, it's incredible. And Zach, so going back to something. What inspired you? I know Tyler did, but like internally, what inspired you to also create this software idea that you're going to make? Like, you don't have to go into it if you can't go into it, but like, what is it going to be geared towards? Like, what made you say this is needed in our industry?
Yeah. Honestly, so it was inspired from my time with REI SIFT. So I ran a bunch of the challenges. I ran a bunch of like the community stuff, and I have an idea. Kind of, we're still in the infant stages, so I don't want to like put it all out. But we're still in the infant stages in the sense of building community and helping people be better, get better through certain, uh, you know, events or stuff. I guess I could say. I don't want to give it fully away yet. I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait. I'm hoping we can get things together. I actually got a Facebook group that I'm going to be releasing soon. I just got to sit down and I got to do a video for an introduction stuff and put some other stuff together. But I'll be sending that out to invite so health, wealth, and life mastermind community. So keep an eye out for that, guys. Join us. We're going to be talking about real estate, life, spiritual stuff, just whatever. It's just going to be this community to be a well-rounded individual, helping each other through life in general, whether it's business, whatever you do, really. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that you want to do that, and there's a big picture to that, and that is that same thing, building relationships and community, which is huge for you.
Right.
So I can't wait to see it. Like it'll be all over Facebook, and you're gonna blow it up.
I hope so. I appreciate it, man.
Zach, so got a question for you. Because you're always about finding solutions. So when you find these deals and you're either you're doing the wholesale or you're finding the buy and hold, what is your secret to really finding solutions? Like, what is in the back of your mind to really finding that solution? Is it having the resources and affiliates around you so that you can contact and say, hey, I know somebody for this, I know somebody for this? Or is it just a real grind mode in your head about finding that solution? Like, because you got sellers that always have those objections, right? The prices, their price is high, your price is low, and they're going to tell you no. What is that secret?
I would say I go into every conversation. Well, here's a big thing. And you kind of mentioned it before. You said there's people virtual wholesaling. That's fine. That's great. That's very doable. I've done it a few times. But there's nothing like being able to go and meet a seller and shake their hand and really have a genuine face-to-face conversation, right? This whole COVID thing really made us a virtual kind of world where we're doing all our meetings and school and everything. We're kind of getting back to normal life. Thank the Lord for Florida, because I mean, honestly, this is probably the best state to be in at this point in time. Not saying there's other great states, don't get me wrong, but we're kind of getting back to the normal life. So being able to go and talk to people face to face, have conversations with them, shake their hand, be real with them, is probably the biggest benefit that I find in my business day to day, right? That's truly how we build relationships. But in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking not price, right? Yes, of course, price is important, but I'm thinking motivation. I'm like, what is your problem? What's the seller's problem? What are they going through? So I reiterate it. I go, hey, look, hey, I might not be the guy to buy your house. That's fine. But tell me what your problem is, what you're dealing with now, and where you want to get to. And if I can't help you, I'm definitely going to work to try to point you in the right direction or hook you up with the right people. For example, yesterday I texted you. I was like, hey, do you know a good divorce lawyer? Reason being, I was at our flip. I was driving from our flip and I drive past his house and I see these massive 2 dumpsters and people clearing this lot out. I'm like, huh, okay, whipped it in reverse, backed out, got out of the car. I was like, hey, who's the seller? And he's like, that guy over there. So I started talking to him. Apparently the county had fined him so much that at that point they sent somebody to clear his yard for him. I was like, I know this issue. I've dealt with code enforcement before. This is a hard cost. This is something he's going to have to pay versus a soft cost, which is a fee. Just a little kind of tidbit for you guys. Soft costs are fees. Like a guy's driving around, that yard looks like crap. Boom, fee, you got a fee. You can negotiate those. But the minute the county sends someone to cut your grass, remove debris, that's a hard cost. You now own that or owe that. That's a lien against your property. So there's ways to deal with that. So I was like, okay, cool. Know that issue, right? Then he's like, hey, I'm going through a divorce. Kind of like was talking to him about that. I was like, hey, I got a great lawyer that can help you with that. And really, Al, you were in the back of my mind. But from your network, because I networked with you, I know you're not like a divorce lawyer, even though you might know some divorce stuff, I'm sure, right? But hey, I know guys that deal with divorce, right? I know good guys that I can recommend. And you sent me his contact info. So whether he takes that advice or wants to use that, whatever, he knows now that I know what I'm talking about. I know how to deal with his problems. I'm there to help him. I'll probably send him a text in a day or two and say, hey, man, just following up. How you doing? Is there anything I can do for you? Right? Just reaching out. What's their motivation? What are they going through? They're humans. Like I said, before we do transactional kind of relationships, right? But we forget the human aspect in it. What's their problem? What are they dealing with as a human? Because we deal with problems all day, right? I'm dealing with dirty diapers. I literally just changed a diaper before I hopped on here with you. That's my problem. Is there anyone that can help me with that problem? Because I would pay them $1 million to help me, change diapers. But other than that, what's their problem? Why are they dealing with what they're dealing with? And can I help them with a solution? Or can I point them in the right direction? Or can I help them find that solution? Because if you don't know and you help them find that solution, you're going to learn from that situation, regardless of if you make money or not. That's invaluable in itself, right? That's worth $1 million, because now you can go to the next seller and they're like, yeah, I'm dealing with a divorce. Boom, got someone, been through this already, know what I'm talking about, know what I'm dealing with, right? So that's something that I'm always keeping in mind when I'm talking to sellers, is what is their motivation and how can I solve that problem? Because it's not always about price. Of course, they're going to give you a price like, yeah, I want 150. It's like, well, your property's worth 50, but what's your problem? Can I help you solve it? And let's talk the numbers and be realistic here and get you down to a more realistic number, because whether you go with me or go to try to list it and deal with other people, you're going to get the same thing. Like, I'm not BSing you. I'm not going to, beat around the bush and say, well, nope, I need to make 6 figures on this, so I'll give you 15K, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, I'm going to, if I can make a good chunk on it, right, and give them what they need and help them through a situation like this probate we just dealt with, right? I'm going to make a healthy 5 figures on that, but I was helping them with their problem. I got it at a good deal. I was able to assign it at a good price, you know what I mean? And move on from it. But that one wasn't without work, but that wasn't an easy assignment, I'll say, but it was one. So motivation, dealing with the people's problems or the seller's problems, and finding a solution with them, right? Coming alongside them.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it. I don't know. I thought that was a simple deal.
Yeah. You didn't do much. Yeah. No,
not a problem. Yeah. It was all you, Zach. You did it.
Well, I was dealing with Santa Rosa County. I guess they went on vacation for like 4 weeks.
I have no idea. But you know what? It was also that too, is that you were in it for the thick and thin, like, following up, I'm following up with you, you're following up with me. And it's like, we're coming to this as a goal, to get to the dream, right? To take that action, to get to that end result. But it was that follow-up and that mentality that you had that made that whole deal come together, because, I didn't forget about it. I mean, I think I even texted you. I was like, let me tell you what's going on right now, right? Yeah. Working with people like that, super important. And if you're not working with people that are not going to take that edge and communicate, it's not your style, right? So I've been a big believer about that more than ever, even more recently, is that you need to find people that match your speed and your style. And if you're not, you got to get out of that got to get out with those people and find people that are going to be like grinding, right? So Zach, you're a grinder. Tyler's a grinder. This whole community in Jacksonville, they grind. So I love that mentality. Also, Zach, tell me why, and tell everybody, why do you love these messy deals like probate and even buying out interest? And like, why do you, what excites you about that field? Because very few investors get into that. There was one investor I met at the Hive Mind event, which was Ryan McDonald. Mm-hmm. He got up there and he was like, there's 5 heirs, and we just, we try to get in touch with them, and or if they don't all agree, we'll partition and we'll do all this. And like, very few really want to get their hands dirty. But you're like, whatever we got to do, just tell me the action steps and we'll do it. So why do you love those messy deals?
Well, first off, if I can solve the problem, I'm not going to let it go, even if it is messy. Second off, you've probably heard riches are in the niches, right? So what can I niche in? What can I be an expert in? And the cool thing is about social media in the world we're living in right now, there's a lot of not cool things, but the cool thing is if I become an expert in a very small area, I can share that wealth, that knowledge with other people. And guess what? I've almost created a second income or a second business, sharing my experience and my wisdom, my knowledge in that niche with other people who want to be in that niche, right? So there's a kind of cool 2-part to it. Like, I can do deals that are probate, and I can help others do deals that are probate, for example. But yeah, I wouldn't say I absolutely love these hard deals. Would I just love an easy vacant property and make a bunch of money on it? 100%. Who wouldn't, right? But that's not reality. You're dealing with people. The flip we're doing right now in Wycliffe, in Pensacola. Sorry, I call it Wycliffe because it's on Wycliffe. But our Wycliffe flip, right? That was a pre-foreclosure. So that deal, I actually helped the individual find, because it got sold, like the lien or the loan got sold off like 5 or 6 different times. And I was like, okay, who do you know was the last one to own that? So we figured out who was the last one to own that. We reached out to that company. It was a company that bought underperforming notes, right? Cool kind of two-piece story to this. So I put the seller and that company in touch together, because that company, the guy, his name is Ian, cool dude. If you guys have any underperforming notes questions, I can hook you up with him. He's a good dude. We built actually a pretty good relationship talking real estate and whatnot. But anyway, I think he's out in the Tampa area. But anyway, put them in contact. Here's the thing. He got him to sign the deed over to the company. So I lost the deal with the seller. Okay. But I got the deal with the note company at a really good price. Ended up buying it for 50K. We're going to put about 75 in it, and we're going to sell it for 232. So hopefully after closing, you could do the math. That's a good 7 or 5 figures, right? But other than that, it was me connecting the two, saying, hey, I don't really know much about pre-foreclosure. I didn't say this to the seller, but I'm going to learn, and I'm going to figure out what we need to do. Just think logically. Okay, well, if it's an underperforming note, I'm going to find who has that note, and I'm going to reach out to them and just ask questions and see what the deal is, right? But they ended up getting the deal, and then they were going to flip it themselves. They were going to sell it. They couldn't sell it. After a while, here's the other thing. I kept following up with them. Hey, how's that deal going? You get that deal? I got some people here. Do you need help? Do you need me to do anything? Do you need me to send some contractors out there? Do you need me to hook you up with a roofer? Do you need me to, because he wasn't in the area, right? Eventually, he's like, hey, Zach, look, man, nobody's given interest at 65. I was like, okay, well, let me run some numbers. Came back at 55. He's like, fine, we'll take 55. Got it from 65 to 55. And then we went back in. I did some more because it was mold and the roof had been blown off from Sally. And I was like, look, man, like there's a lot of mold damage here. I need it at like 50. So we renegotiated and I got it at 50. Thank goodness I did, because we're now over budget. But either way, we're fine. We're going to be okay. But we renegotiated. The deal ended up happening because we were creative about it, right? Same thing with the probate. Same thing with the McCarty property we're about to partition, right? Right now, I'm collecting death certificates. I'm trying to get as many death certificates and stuff. So shout out to Stephanie Shepard. She is a queen at finding people and finding information. But yeah, so we're finding out information about these people. So we get death certificates, and then we're going to serve them, right?
Yeah,
so
that's it.
Just I got served. Now I know how it feels. So
and now you know what to do, right?
Exactly.
Tell everybody about that, Zach. Like, the whole buying out, that you can do that in Florida. You can buy out interest, buy out a deed, and then later go back and then try to push it to a sale so that you can either get the cash or the property later.
Right. So there's risk involved in that. That kind of happens as well for tax deed sales. Some tax deed sales drop off some of the liens and some of the stuff from the tax deed sale. It's basically the county recouping its costs, so tax costs, code enforcement costs, that sort of thing. But when someone buys this deed without going through the proper title, running title lien searches and title searches and going through a title company with title insurance, when you're buying a deed without that, you're taking the risk of taking on that debt now that seller previously had. Okay, so I was one of those buyers that put a cloud on a title because I had a seller back out on me. And this other guy on the other side bought the tax deed, and he went to go quiet the title, and I got summoned, and it wasn't going to end up being worth the deal at the end. So I just let it go. But now we're kind of flipping the script here, right? I got in contact with the seller. He had 2 sisters with the deal that had passed away. I reached out originally to the kids, and I offered them money to sign and walk away, right? We were going to do probate. We had to do a double probate. And they basically said, no, go kick sand. Screw that guy. He can go die. I don't care. Okay, cool. So I went back to that guy. I was like, hey, look, Charles, his name's Charles. Really nice guy, really religious guy. We had a lot of good conversations. But Charles was like, man, I just need to get out of this. He's in an assisted living facility. He had cancer. He has cancer. He's just like, man, I just need to get something, get out of this. This is a headache. Okay, cool. I will buy your third of the property for $800. He's behind on taxes, so now I'm responsible for that. Any other liens I'm responsible for, but for $800, that kind of makes sense, right? the deal now can be split. I can do 2 new builds on this property and we can make some good money. Okay. So at $800 plus the partition costs, so it just kind of makes sense. So you might be able to explain better about the partition, but essentially my understanding, we're going to serve all the kids. We're going to say, hey, you have 20 days to respond to this, essentially quiet the title, you know what I mean? Kind of, or however
Force
it
the
is.
sale.
Right. We're going to force the sale and go to auction and probably have my other company buy it.
And
That's why
that's
it's nice to have multiple companies,
there you go. And
Yeah.
it's the beauty of like that you can do those kinds of things in Florida, right?
Right.
Like, and that's the resource by knowing people, knowing affiliates and knowing these people in your market that can help you figure these creative solutions out to these messy
Yeah.
deals. Like this was a messy deal, right? And actually this came up like November of last year or December of last year. I remember Tyler connected us initially and you were like, hey man, there's a potential double probate and like nobody ever got back to you. And then like, look what you did, Zach. You were able to follow up on the lead. You kept that relationship going with that potential seller. And then fast forward 9 months later, you're now in a position where you can control what happens with what's going on. So you have multiple options available to you. But at the end of the day, you took a low risk with a high reward with a dream at the end.
Yep.
And the goal of following up, but the dream, which is that you took action to get to that point, and that's what you're doing. That's why you made that deal happen with the probate. That's why you're going to make it happen with this one, with the partial interest, and that you could do that in Florida. A lot of people don't know that. So, you're inspired.
I appreciate that. I mean, even if I don't make a bunch of money off of this, the experience and being able to help, Charles get out of this thing is going to be worth it to me. But here's the other thing. I came to you with that in November. That deal started like 6 months prior. Okay. So I had him, he wanted $38,000 for that originally. Okay. This is one of the sellers was like, you're not that company, are you? And I was like, nope, not that company. So he had it 38,000. That company screwed him over. I ended up following up, got it under for 30, had it assigned. No, what did I get under for? No, I think I got under for 20. I got under for 20. There you go. He had it 38. I got it under for 20 after follow up and relationship building. I had assigned it for 26. I was going to make a quick 6 on it. Easy deal, right? Not much to it. But when title came back, they're like, hey, we need signatures from this person and this person. I'm like, well, that person and that person are dead. So we're not getting their signature, right? Unless we go, dig the grave up and get their signature. That ain't happening. So that deal ended up falling apart. That piece ended up falling apart, and I was just going back and forth with the seller and the buyer I had assigned it to. And then eventually came to you and was like, this is what I got. I'm trying to make the deal happen. But man, it's probably going to be like a year and a half. Well, by the time partition's done, like 2 years. This will be a 2-year deal. So I'm hoping once you break it down, probably not a great, grand slam, but a lot of lessons learned. I've become better for it. It's helped me out with other deals, helped me out coach people, through those things. So that's cool too.
A learning experience for you too, right? Like we are always learning in this industry, right? This is never I know enough and that's it. Right. And the same thing for real estate, same thing for the law side. Like you never know enough. Like you got to continue learning and educating yourself and bouncing things off. There's things that that I have no idea about. And then I see it from your side. Like it's not a good buildable lot. This is the better route to go. Do the numbers work? Right. Learn, I've learned a lot about that from the investing side, which is do your numbers work? And if the numbers don't work, guess what? It's not going to happen. It has nothing to do with anything personally. It's just business. The numbers don't work and that's it. And you move on from the deal.
Yep.
So you learn a lot from that and you're inspiring, Zach. You're so inspiring. Every time we talk, dude, every time we get on the phone, I'm always learning something. Like I said, the one that, dude, we're all busy, right? I mean, I love that. It's like, that's like ingrained. Like I get it. Cause you got to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That kind of triggered me. So I was just, I
love it.
responded how I felt, I guess, which not always a good idea. But anyway, it worked out. I'm glad you got something from it. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
inspired somebody else by regurgitating that, right?
That's awesome. That's cool to
So
hear. That's
love it,
awesome to
man.
hear.
So
Yeah.
Zach, final hook for today. So everybody keeps that inspiration going. How do you manage your time with 4 kids, being around the super mom and running these real estate companies? Like what is that secret sauce to you being super dad? Because we could talk about real estate all day, but after 6, you're with the kids. It's time to feed. It's time to put dinner on the plate. It's time to make sure they go to school, make sure they learn. And you're not just the investor, you're dad. How do you do that part?
Man, kind of going back to like the beginning of our conversation here, like the name, the never quit mentality. It just knowing I'm not going to give up. Right now, there's a point. My opinion is there's ignorance, and then there's knowing that you just need to persevere. Right. A lot of people, and I say this all the time, when they're wholesaling, they come into this business, real estate, whether they're new time flippers or new time wholesalers, they're new to business, right? They're used to the working 9 to 5, working an hourly job and getting paid for it. That's no more. When you choose to pick this up, right, your effort could be 80 hours a week. Your effort will produce what you make in the end. Okay. So people have this mindset of like, well, I've worked and talked to people. Why is this not happening? Well, that's not how it works. You know what I mean? So you got to keep persevering. You got to never quit. You got to keep going. You just got to take it day by day or deal by deal or even meal by meal, right? Especially when you're juggling kids, you're juggling, work. I try to stay active in my church, that sort of thing. So it's just a day by day kind of mentality. I'm trying to get better with like my calendar, my schedule. But here's the deal. When you have 4 kids, man, like they do not care about your calendar. Like it does not matter, right? Still got one's back in, I guess, school kind of daycare. One, we're still waiting. They got postponed another week. So we still have 3 kids, an infant and a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old at home. So, I'm working in my office. I've made it kind of a nice little space to work, but nonetheless, I have kids running in and, just trying to balance that, being patient, being very patient with my children as best I can, with my wife, with the people that are working for me, right? Constantly people are like, hey, I need this, this has happened or whatever. So just kind of like stopping, thinking, being like, okay, let's not get worked up. Let's think this through and let's move forward and push forward the best way we can. And that's really how I'm doing it right now. But long-term vision wise, Al, is I'm trying to think about, okay, I'm doing these tasks consistently. Can I produce a system, a process behind it so that eventually someone else can do it? You know what I mean? Or it's running by itself. So trying to offload my plate with the, minuscule tasks is key as well. So thinking ahead in that kind of manner. You know what I mean? So,
are we going to see the Wooldridge legacy?
I hope so. Yeah. Yeah.
The kids are going to do it
day by day, man. You've ever heard of Andy Frisella?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. Great dude. He curses a lot. So if you got kids, don't listen to him in the room. But anyway, he puts it really well. He's like, you got a pile of rocks. Okay. You need to take this pile of rocks from here or point A to point B, right? And he's like, you can't just wish that to happen. You can't just hope for that to happen or have faith that that's just going to have or happen on its own. You have to physically do it. You have to move those rocks, whether it be one by one or pile by pile, they have to get done. So each day doing those tasks that are going to push you, your business, and your family forward is what you need to do. So it's just action. Like I said, the difference between dreams and goals is action, right? So take that action, do it the best you can, pivot along the way. You're never going to be perfect. You're never going to have it perfect, but just get the best viable solution you can and move forward with that, right? And patience. Be patient with yourself and those around you. That's the best I got, man. That's all I'm doing, day by day, meal by meal sort of thing. So
I love it. I'm inspired by it, Zach. I'm always inspired every time we talk, man. I'm even when I get off this episode and be like, wow, so much stuff from Zach. So everybody that wants to connect with Zach, you find him on Facebook. He's got TikTok. I got to check out your TikTok. What are you doing on TikTok?
Do you got TikTok, dude?
No, not yet. But I had a lot of people telling me I have to be on TikTok. But
You got to be on TikTok, man. You got to be on TikTok. Yeah. I'm doing like a little business mindset thing. I spend some time in the Word in the morning, and I share that on that there. So, kind of things I've learned from that. So spiritual side, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Find Zach on all the channels, his website, Northwest Florida Cash Homebuyer.com. Zach, you're incredible. Before we get you off and before we wrap it up, final words and final thoughts from Zach Wooldridge.
Man, I just want to appreciate you for like letting me come on here. I don't really think I'm like that great. I'm just kind of, going day by day, but I appreciate your words, your kind words, your how you think of me and how you view me is encouraging. So I appreciate that in the humble way. I appreciate everyone joining in on this. If anyone needs anything, please feel free to reach out. I'm an open book. If I don't get to you right away, I'm probably changing a diaper, but I'll get to you after that, but other than that, feel free to reach out to me with anything really. So I'm here, man. I'm here. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to do some more business with you, Al. I think we got some good stuff in the future here. But yeah, on that, I appreciate it, brother.
I love it, Zach. And for everybody, this is Super Dad, Super Investor, now he's going to be software, Facebook group running person, Zach Wooldridge. Zach, thanks so much again for being on the show. And it was fantastic. And I love it. And thanks, we will talk soon, Zach.
Yes, brother. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. This is a wrap. I hope you enjoyed that episode with Zach Wooldridge. He's an incredible super dad, super investor, making deals happen. I love Zach. Make sure you just go back and watch. There's so much content in that one episode. There's so much valuable gems and words of inspiration and influence from Zach. He's always surrounded by big players in the game. And we had so many people that were watching, from Dylan to Elizabeth, Sharonda, Alex. We had so many great people watching. We love it. We love it. So make sure you check out all the episodes, all the past episodes on the Al Nicoletti Show. There's tons of content, tons of episodes, amazing guests, and everything's on the YouTube channel, Spotify, iTunes, Instagram. Check out all the micro content. And next week, make sure you check out, I got the Biz Bros. The Biz Bros are coming in the house next Friday. I think it's September 10th. Time's flying. So make sure you check it out. And I will see you next time on the Al Nicoletti Show. Take care.